To everyone online, I've been really privileged to spend 3 years as a postdoc researcher on this project called PositivMasc, Masculinities and Violence Against Women Amongst Young People, Identifying Discourses and Developing Strategies for Change. So PositivMasc is short for positive masculinity, and already this morning I've learned a lot about intersectionality, and I kind of realised that what I should have done was developed a presentation around the benefits, the opportunities, but also the difficulties of recruiting young people on the subject of men's violence against women, and especially around the difficulties in recruiting young men to participate on this topic. So just very briefly, PositivMasc, one of the aims of it is to explore the discourses that young people use in Sweden, Spain, Ireland and Israel, using their understandings of masculinities. And we also aimed to identify the individual and societal factors supporting and promoting anti-violence masculinities. In other words, ways of being a man that do not involve the use of violence against women. So, to put it simply, PositivMasc explores young people's and stakeholders' views on how we can promote positive and non-violent ways of being a man. And we specifically asked young people and those who work in the area this question: in order to reduce men's violence against women and to promote positive and non-violent forms of manhood, we should. And they developed various ideas to answer that question. The idea of positive masculinity is a contested term, and for us, we have not really explored it yet as a concept. So it's an unresolved theoretical issue. So what is a positive masculinity? I think this issue kind of provokes a number of different questions. For example, what is the political vision that underpins not only this research but all of our research studies here? What is the gendered type of world that we want to build? And should it be or can it be a gendered world? Because one of the big debates in masculinities is around how can we reconstruct or deconstruct masculinities that does not involve violence against women. So Michael Schwalbe notes that there has been proliferation of this idea of multiple masculinities. There's pacifist masculinity, there's Irish masculinity, there's academic masculinity, there's military masculinity. There's almost hundreds of different types of masculinities that researchers have found. And one of the debates in the area is that the idea of analysing all masculinities as oppressive has been largely lost. And if you take the view that all masculinities are oppressive, then what does that mean for our hopes of rebuilding a masculinity? Because that would imply that positive masculinity is not the answer to the question of violence against women. So my point is that it's not even clear that the idea of masculinity, or even the gendered idea of man itself, has a place in a world of gender equality, especially if we take a radical view. One of the radical views out there is that the idea of healthy masculinity is like talking about healthy cancer. So this comes back to two sort of different types of criticisms within the area. There is immanent social criticism, which presumes the inevitability of the category of men and masculine selves. And there's transcendent criticism, which kind of refers to the notion of abolishing gender categories or masculinity overall. So these are some of the theoretical debates which these issues sort of raise. So in gender transformative initiatives, what are we aiming for? Are we aiming for a new man or a new person? Because some young people in our research talked about the idea that it's not about building a new form of manhood, it's about becoming a better person. What does rejecting or reconstructing masculinity mean for femininity? Can a cognitive rejection of masculinity become another form of denial? So I might say that I consciously reject gender norms, but I could be unconsciously still guided by them. So those are some of the theoretical issues that we will be discussing in the future. Thank you.